Hey, what's up guys? Working on a 2009 Volkswagen Passat, 2-liter turbo engine in this one. Customer complaint is that the vehicle stalls or stumbles intermittently, and then once it does that it won't start, or it will start and immediately stall. So right now, car's running right now. I think another complaint was that the check engine light was on. So I'll get the scan tool hooked up and we'll see what kind of trouble codes we have. Battery's gonna die on this GoPro. It looks like we are fan. Okay, so it most likely needs fans. We're going to ignore those ones, and we have a P3043 fuel pump mechanical malfunction. Fuel rail system pressure too low, P0087, and a P3044 fuel pump short circuit. So looks like we're dealing with a maybe a fuel pressure issue here. Let's see what kind of data pins it gives us. We may have to go into the expert mode. Died. Alright, so these, the only data pins I could bring up fuel related was our fuel rail specified and then our fuel pump actual. So this is rail pressure. We're at about 40 bar at idle, that's normal. I brought up our fuel trims too. The O2 learned value at idle would be our long-term at idle, and the O2 sensor self-adaptation value partial throttle would be our long-term cruising down the road or under partial throttle. And then we also have our short-term bank 1 sensor control, so going rich saline. And honestly, what we need this thing to do is act up, so I'm gonna leave it run for a little bit and maybe come back to it. But it looks like, all right, it just died. And looks like we lost our rail pressure. See if it'll start up. All right, so it will not run. This is a fuel pressure issue. Our fuel pump rail pressure is 1.6 bar, and we were just at 40. So we're losing fuel pressure. Could be on the low side. There's a transfer pump in the tank that just supplies a volume of fuel. I think it runs at maybe 5 bar, and it supplies a volume of fuel to the high pressure pump, and then the high pressure pump jumps it up to about 40 and beyond, I guess whichever the demand is. So we could have an issue with the low side pump, we could have an issue with the high side pump, and I think easiest would be to install a gauge on the low side. I would put one on the high side, but it's a digital fuel gauge and I don't have it. I would have to borrow it, and I just can't do that right now. So we will put a gauge on the low side and pick a direction after we see what pressure is actually on the low side. Alright guys, so I got our big bulky gauge that everyone loves. This is a VAG 1318K. You can see that. So I couldn't get the quick disconnect off under the hood, and I didn't want to break it. So attempting to do it in the back seat, and this way, you know, if our issue is on the low side, we're right here at the pump and we can do some checks. So I had to just lift the back seat out. There is a little plastic piece with a fuel pump module, and let's get our gauge hooked up, get some safety glasses. All right. Try to get this quick disconnect off. Gotta be safe with a rag, just in case there is some pressure in here. So I do have safety glasses on too, and there was nothing in that line. If I can get this in there. See that? Maybe. Yeah. Alright, so I'm connected to the low side, and I'm going to crank this thing over. Keys on. Let's crank it over. If you can see that gauge is not moving at all. Crank it again. Nothing. Alright guys, so this confirms that our problem is on the low side, and all we got to do right now is some voltage checks on this fuel pump and go from there. So we got no low side pressure. The vehicle still does not start. And if you guys were able to see that, no pressure. Alright, so we have a variable speed pump. It gets a pulse width signal from this fuel pump control module right here. So I'm going to back probe this right at the fuel pump. And I'm gonna have to crank this. Alright, back probed at the pump. Crank it over. Let's see here. Oh! My gauge is leaking. We had a square wave for a sec. Let me fix this real quick. Alright, so my gauge is leaking right here, which isn't too good. So now I got fuel in the car, but I had a square wave. You guys saw the square wave, and my pressure jumped up to about 5 bar. Alright, so when I primed the key on before, I had a square wave. Oh, now I don't. Nothing. We're getting some weird pulse on there. So right now it's not starting. We got no signal going to the fuel pump. So it could be potentially an issue with this module. This key on. And should be power feed here. Okay, so we got 12 volts right there. ground on this side. Take that there. So our fuel pump ground is good. And power and ground going to the fuel pump module are good. Man, I wish I could get that square wave again. Alright, let's see if I can turn this. Alright, so now we got a square wave again. Let's see if this thing runs. 6 bar on the gauge. We just lost our signal. And we're losing our pressure. Oh, we just got a signal back and we just got our pressure back. Alright, so now we can keep an eye on this. We can watch the signal and watch the gauge at the same time. So we're running at about 6 bar right now. And we need it to act up. Signal's good right now. Pressure's good right now. 6 bar. Close to about 86 to 90 psi, somewhere around there. I don't know if you guys can see that gauge. This won't stay turned. It might be a little better. Anyway, it's at 6 bar. I guess as long as you guys can see it. It looks like this module could be crapping out on us. We need it to act up again. And when it does act up, we just need to verify powers and grounds, which we already did at the module. And I think that there is a square wave from the ECM that we may have to verify. It's running good right now. Piece of crap. Turn that gauge a little bit. Hold and steady. We had no signal before. We had no pressure. This module's getting hot. Thought I saw a couple glitches in there when I moved it. Couple glitches in there. I think this module might actually be on a LIN bus from the ECM. So if and when this fails, just got to verify power on the ground, which would be this red and green and brown right here. And I believe the LIN bus wire would be the purple with black. And then there's a couple other wires here. Probably some for the sending unit. Let's see here, I'm going to put this back in its holder. It may help with the overheating. I think that's what's happening. I think the module is actually overheating. Snap it back in this little holder here. Man, this thing's running strong now. Good signal, good pressure. Hasn't stalled. I'm just holding my hand over this module, trying to keep some of the heat in there. Because if you think about it, the back seat sits over top of this, probably helps with the heat. This module is getting pretty hot. Starting to lose pressure now. There, we just lost our signal. Signal is gone. And you can see our pressure's dropping. We're at about 3 bar right now. 2.5. And this thing is just gonna run until it runs out of this residual pressure that's back here. No signal. One and a half bar. About 1 bar. And pretty soon it's gonna stall. Wow. This thing's running on half a bar back here. Here we go. Starting to chug a little bit. Oh man. Here we go. Alright, she just died. So no signal there. Pull this module out. It's just my pin not making good contact. There we go. Go power and ground at this module. Good power and ground. 12.5 volts. You guys see that? So 12.5 volts. I just want to move this over. I think this. Yeah, so there would be this purple wire. And let's see if that changes when I try to crank it over. Well, we got pressure back. Alright, so maybe about a 3 volt square wave. And that's what we had before. This thing needs a fuel pump module. Our pressure's dropping. And I just want to... Let me back this up real quick. I'm just going to take this lead of my Varus. I got it on the power. And I'm going to use this fuel pump power supply. I'm going to see if we can bypass test it. Nope. not in there all the way. Maybe I wasn't in there all the way. Yep. Little bypass test. There, it's working again. If you saw the gauge shoot up, all I did was just jump a power real quick using the power supply from this fuel pump control module straight to the pump. And it's running again. Our pressure jumped up. I just kind of jarred it. So it looks like we need a fuel pump control module. Good bypass test right there. Needs a fuel pump control module, guys. Missing a low side pressure that's causing it to stumble and stall, and then it won't restart, and then when this module cools back down, it restarts and it's fine. Good signals going into our module, bad output going to this pump. I could probably keep this car just running. So alright, well, needs a fuel pump control module. Good power and ground going to the module. We're missing the power supply square wave that goes to the pump. And we had a good 3-volt square wave coming from, I believe it's on a LIN bus to the ECM. So, verified missing low pressure and losing the signal, and then we're losing our pressure. We were able to do a bypass test, keep the car running. So I'm waiting on an okay for this. Maybe I'll be able to show you guys an after. If not a big deal. We verified it. Hey, what's up, guys? I got the new fuel pump module installed in this car. This is the old one. I've driven it about 5 miles now. The car's been running for a while. So this is a confirmed fix. I just wanted to get you an after shot of square wave and our pressure. I've had no dropouts. So I just wanted to show you an after and get you set up there. So we got our square wave there. About a 0 to 12 volt square wave. If you remember before, we were losing that pulse from the module. Power and ground to the module were good. We had a 3-volt square wave from the ECM. And when we would lose that square wave, our pressure would drop. You can see our pressure's steady at 6 bar. And I've had this vehicle running for a while now, drove it 5 miles. So this is a confirmed fix. Faulty fuel pump module, dropping the signal out and causing the pump to shut off. So I hope you guys enjoy this video, and thanks for watching.